And obsessing about eating quote unquote clean is causing us to stay in the burnout cycles. You cannot out-eat a dysregulated nervous system. Caffeine is not giving you energy. Caffeine is borrowing energy from future you. Being stimulated is not the same thing as being energized. But when we rely on caffeine regularly to get us through the day, we are pulling from the energy bank and getting ourselves in debt, in energy debt, that the bill's gonna come due eventually. And so without labs, we just kind of throw money down supplement black holes and cross our fingers that something works. So everyone that sends me a DM, every client that comes in and says, okay, but what supplement should I take? We have to start with labs. Hey mama, welcome back to the Thrive Mama podcast. I'm Martina, certified nutrition consultant and holistic health coach and a mama of two, and I'm so glad you're here. I am here to help busy moms unlock their energy, balance their hormones, and break out of burnout using nutrition as a foundation. On this show, we will dive into actionable strategies on nutrition, nervous system healing, and aligning with your cycles with a healthy dose of relatable motherhood thrown in, all designed to help you move past surviving to actually thrive in motherhood. Let's do this. All right, so today we are going there. We're lifting the curtain a bit, and I have made a list of some of the top things I find myself saying to my clients right now that I just wouldn't say on Instagram. And it's not because I'm holding back on Instagram, it's because this shit goes deeper than we can fit into a 15-second reel. And this is the more nuanced, complex, but truly liberating statements that my clients are hearing on repeat that I want to share with you today. So let's get into it. Number one thing I'm saying to my clients on repeat that you need to hear today is, I don't care what keto dieters or carnivore dieters say. If you are not getting 35 grams of fiber a day, and if you are not pooping 1 to 3 times a day, you are backed up. Your energy is clogged, your hormones are suffering, and your detox pathways are moving slowly. Your digestion is a detox pathway. And no matter how many influencers are screaming about the carnivore diet right now, your body needs plants. You need fiber. You need fruits and vegetables. You need legumes. We need to keep the detox pathways flowing. And that does not happen with a keto or carnivore diet. So if you are not having a solid bowel movement 1 to 3 times a day, if you are not eating 35 grams of protein a day, your body is not recycling and detoxing the way it needs to. I still talk to clients who are having 1 or 2 bowel movements a week and have for their entire lives and have heard from their doctors that that is normal. And I'm here to say really clearly, not normal, not optimal. We need to up the plants. All right, next on the list, not feeling hungry in the morning is not a flex, and it's not part of your personality. I hear this all the time. I'm just not a morning person. I just don't feel hungry in the morning. I'm not a breakfast person. And maybe you're nodding along like, yeah, actually, that is me. Here's the thing. It is actually a symptom of cortisol and digestive imbalances. So not feeling hungry in the first hour or 2 that we're awake is a sign that your cortisol is dysregulated and that your digestion, your digestive fire is moving slowly. You should wake up ready for food. You should wake up ready to eat. And if breakfast makes you nauseous, or if you just don't feel hungry until the middle of the morning, that is a red flag that we are actually running on stress hormones, that our cortisol and adrenaline is generally high, and that our circadian rhythm is actually dampening our digestive fire when we need it the most. So the key here is to really work on nervous system regulation and circadian rhythm strategies. So getting our sunlight, getting blue light limited in the evenings and in the mornings, making sure we're sleeping between about 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., like really tuning into our sleep hygiene. And the other thing that really helps with this is giving our digestion a little bit of a kickstart, a jump start first thing in the morning. My favorite way to do this is with warm lemon water with a little bit of sea salt mixed into it, drinking that first thing upon waking, and it actually starts to rev up your digestive engine. The lemon juice actually stimulates digestive enzymes, so they are ready to receive food, and we can tolerate a more balanced breakfast. So we're not accepting not being a breakfast person as just part of who you are and how you operate. We're viewing it as a symptom of an imbalance, and we're taking steps to heal it. Okay, next on the list, seed oils. Do you know what's even more inflammatory than seed oils? Stressing about seed oils. So here's the deal. And this actually, I'm going to lump this in with another one on my list, which is your obsession with clean eating is keeping you sick and stressed. This all goes together because the constant fixation on clean ingredients and dissecting every bite and making everything as perfect on our plate as we can is actually doing more damage to our cells and nervous system than living in more flow and just eating the damn seed oil once in a while. Am I a fan of seed oils in our system? No, I do find them to be generally inflammatory to the body. And in a body that thrives in balance and safety, it can handle that little bit of inflammation. It can have anti-inflammatory processes come to the rescue. But if our body is in constant fear, restriction, obsession mode, and we're analyzing every single bite we eat, we are adding more stress into the bucket. And that is making us unable to respond to environmental toxins, to sort of just normal day-to-day wear and tear in our body. It makes everything harder because the vast majority of those who go to see a doctor are seen for a stress-related condition. It's like 80 to 90% of primary care visits are seen for stress-related illnesses or stress-related conditions. 80 to 90%. Now, inflammation is at the root of so many chronic illnesses and needs to be taken seriously and needs to be addressed. But we cannot handle inflammation by stressing more about inflammation because stress in and of itself is inflammatory. The stress cycle in the body causes inflammation. So you can feel the paradox here of trying to restrict our way into health, causing us more stress about our food, and then causing us to be less healthy. So one thing that I really am able to help people with is prioritize areas of intention with their food so that we do focus on high quality healing foods for the body from a place of balance and flow and safety. This is where having that masculine and feminine balance, that flow in our wellness is really important. I recorded an entire episode about this a few episodes back if you want to go dive into this idea even more. But we need a balance of structure and flow. We need a balance of clear health boundaries and flexibility. Both have to exist. And if we are too far in one camp or the other, we get sick and we get stressed. So, do I help people decrease seed oils in their diet? Absolutely. But if we're moving out of restrictive patternings around food and we're trying to heal that relationship with food and with our body, it is actually better in the short term to be more relaxed about what's on our plate if it brings us some peace in our body. Okay. Stress cycles are more inflammatory than the seed oils that you're stressing about. And obsessing about eating quote unquote clean is causing us to stay in the burnout cycles. You cannot, here's a bonus one. This wasn't on my list, but here's a bonus one I say to clients on repeat. You cannot out-eat a dysregulated nervous system. So if our diet, if our health protocols are activating our nervous system, are making us stressed and overwhelmed, it is doing more harm than good. Yeah, the nervous system has to be part of the equation, and we need to come through this with balance and flow. All right, the next one on the list, caffeine is not giving you energy. Caffeine is borrowing energy from future you. Okay, because the thing is, being stimulated is not the same thing as being energized. And when I help my clients find actual vitality in their body, they like feel the difference. They're like, oh man, this feels steady. This feels resourced. Stimulation is totally different. And the way that caffeine makes us stimulated, it's really interesting. It actually uses a neurotransmitter, adenosine, that builds up in the brain. Adenosine is kind of like our sleep, like our check engine light, but for sleep. Yeah, it's like our sleep light that turns on when the sleep pressure gets high enough. So it signals to the body that it is time to rest. Caffeine overrides it. It's like it takes the wire, unplugs the check engine light, except in this case, it's the sleep check light. It unplugs it from the whole system and just overrides the signals. Now, does that change the fact that sleep pressure is building? No, it doesn't change the body's need for rest. All it changes is that the communication signal is cut off. We don't see the sleep light anymore. We're not receiving that signal. So because it blocks that signal of that neurotransmitter, we think, wow, we must not be tired. So we stay stimulated, we stay focused, we stay alert, and it's masking the fatigue signals. But here's the deal. Adenosine still builds up. It still keeps piling. It's like you mute the notifications on your email inbox, but the emails are still piling up, right? So when the caffeine wears off, all of the unread emails comes rushing in. All of the adenosine that got built up in your system comes flooding in, which is why after caffeine, you find that you crash a bit. You feel even more tired. You feel like you need another cup of coffee to get through the second half of the day because the adenosine that was building up is flooding into your body all at once. It's also why quitting coffee can feel really challenging because that relationship with our tired signaling has been stifled for so long that we feel more tired for a while after shifting away from caffeine. But it's just really important to recognize that energy comes from our cells. Energy comes from the membrane of the cells, the lining around the cells. It actually produces cellular energy that then is radiated out into the body and used by our muscles, by our organs, by everything, by our brain. Energy comes from the cells, and caffeine is not giving your cells energy. Caffeine is not pouring into that energy factory. Caffeine is simply blocking the signal that we're tired. So you can feel the gap there. Caffeine isn't actually creating energy to get across the gap. All it's doing is silencing the alarm bells that we need to rest. So when the alarm bell is silenced, we're just going to get into these cycles of over pushing, of going past our capacity, of not resting when we should. And it's causing us to get even more tired later on, which is why we think about it as not getting energy, but borrowing energy from future you, because that tired is going to catch up with you eventually. It really is. It's going to catch up to you, and future you is going to have to figure it out and going to have to pay for it. So we're not anti-caffeine. It's not that we can never drink caffeine. And there are short-term periods where caffeine is a really beautiful support. You better believe when my newborn was waking up 6 times a night, I was using caffeine to get through the day. But when we rely on caffeine regularly to get us through the day, we are pulling from the energy bank and getting ourselves in debt, in energy debt, that the bill's going to come due eventually. It's going to catch up to us. All right, this next one is tough to talk about on Instagram, which is why it's here and not on my page, simply because there's a lot of nuance to this. And we all know our attention spans on Instagram last 2 seconds. And so unless we can really have a deep conversation about this, it's easy to have big emotions come up. But I do talk to clients regularly about hormonal birth control, because the truth is, hormonal birth control is classified as a group 1 carcinogen. So it is well documented and well known that it increases the risk of cancer significantly. And it also depletes really important minerals. It impacts future fertility. And because it is stopping ovulation in the body, we have a root imbalance in our hormones that over months and years is going to impact our system. whether it is in the form of cancer causing chemicals or due to nutrient depletion from the pill itself. It manifests in our neurotransmitter function and depression and anxiety. Like it impacts a lot. And I say this here not to scare you and not to try to convince anyone not to use it. What I'm really passionate about is empowered, informed consent. And so, what really fires me up is that 99% of the women that I talk to who are on hormonal birth control have never had this conversation. They were never told that this pill increased their risk of cancer pretty significantly. It is passed out by many doctors as like a harmless pregnancy prevention. And we never talk about the long term effects of stopping ovulation, of rewiring how our body works against how it was designed, and the impact that that has on our nutrients, on our bones, on our brain function. Like it's huge. So I really believe in reproductive freedom. And I really believe actually that hormonal birth control is absolutely the right choice for some people. Really, I do. And everybody stepping into using hormonal birth control needs to do so from an informed place. We need to be able to weigh the pros and cons for ourselves and make an informed decision. And you cannot make an informed decision if you are not informed. And there are other birth control options, of course. And in fact, I have an episode coming out soon that dives deeper into birth control pros and cons of different types so we can flush it out even more. But the truth is, it is always a personal decision. It really depends on how much time and energy and attention you have to devote to your birth control method and how much margin of error is possible to exist for you, how much you're comfortable with. Like, this is a really personal decision, but I really feel passionate with my clients. And now I'm sharing with you as we peek behind the veil that we make that decision from a place of empowered information, not from the sort of dismissive way that it's often passed out by doctors, even today, without these kinds of conversations. All right, next on the list of things that I'm constantly telling my clients that you need to hear today, taking care of you is part of taking care of them. Taking care of you is taking care of them. You cannot bypass this one. And until you fully believe this, it's going to be really challenging for you to actually keep up with your health goals the way that you want to. Because if you are self-sacrificing, if you are depleted and exhausted and dysregulated, you cannot show up as the mom, as the partner, as the person that you want to be. Your kids do not need a perfect mom, and they do not need somebody to meet every need and desire immediately for them. But what they do need are caretakers who are fully alive and connected and present in their lives. And they need caretakers who are modeling what it means to live a life in love for themselves and for others. If you are not taking care of yourself today, the way you want your kids to take care of themselves down the road, there's a gap there that we need to bridge. So if you really think you can even close your eyes for just a moment and think about the way you are taking care of yourself day to day right now, what are your kids seeing from you? And then think about the lessons, the habits, the values that you're trying to teach them, tell them that moving their body is important, that being in nature is important, that eating nourishing food is important, that listening to their body is important. Whatever your things are, we're teaching them these things. Are we living them? Truly, are we taking care of ourselves the way we want them to take care of themselves? Because if the answer is no, they're not actually learning that lesson. Kids do not learn by what they hear. They learn by what they see, by what is modeled, especially with those closest to them. And so when you take care of yourself, you are also taking care of them. Even though in the moment it feels really fucking hard. It feels hard to leave and go to yoga class when they're like crying because they want you to do bedtime. It does. It feels hard to tell them that you have to stop playing because you need to go cook everyone dinner or because you are hungry and need a snack. It feels hard to ask your partner to take them for a while so that you can go for a solo walk or go do your workout class or go take a nap. And it feels hard because we are conditioned to believe that the more we give, the more valuable we are. What people around us need from us is to give, 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 give. That's not true. What people around us really need from us is for us to be in our full power and in our full love and in our full aliveness. Because when we are, we actually show up for them differently. That's the kind of support I want to receive. I don't want to receive depleted, self-sacrificed support that has a tinge of resentment and a little dash of urgency and frustration. We can feel that. I would rather receive less support, but support that is potent and powerful and present and full of love. And that cannot happen if you are not taking care of yourself. And one way that I do this day to day and I help clients figure out how to do is to actually put language to what you're doing and why. So instead of telling our children, it's important to listen to your body, or it's important to eat healthy food, or it's important to eat vegetables, or it's important to exercise, instead of telling them, we do the thing and then we explain why, especially if they have a feeling about it, especially if they would prefer that we not go do the thing. We build the bridge with our words. We say, I understand. You were really missing mom and you wish I could do bedtime tonight. Tonight I'm doing this because we take care of our body and make it strong and healthy. Because alone time and hobbies is important to bring us joy. Whatever it is for you, we bridge the gap with our words. That's part of how we teach and model and take care of them. So I really want you to sit with this one. This can shift a lot. When you move through your day-to-day life, is this how you want your kids to take care of their bodies and their needs as they get older? Sometimes that's a tough truth to face, but it is a powerful one. And it's one that we sit through often in our programs. All right. And the last one on our list here, asking me to tell you what supplements to take without any labs being done is basically asking me to give you an eyeglass prescription without checking your eyes. Okay. I don't fucking know. And neither does anybody else. There is no one size fits all supplement protocol that everybody should be taking. And, this is something I've really changed my tune on over the last few years. When I first started my nutrition practice, there was a core set of supplements that just about everyone was taking working with me. And it makes sense why I did things that way and why I see other people doing them that way. But the deeper into this work I go and the deeper into my own healing journey and deeper support with clients, the more I see that throwing a generic supplement protocol at everyone is really missing the mark, because supplements can be important healing tools for sure. They have value. And most of us could benefit from some kind of supplement support. But what that looks like is different for everybody. And I know it would be so nice if there was just a blueprint we could all follow and it would, like, we just take these 5 and we're set. But it's just not. And until I see what's happening with your hormones, with your digestion, with your liver function, with your blood sugar, it's really impossible for me to pinpoint which supplements you actually need. And so without labs, we just kind of throw money down supplement black holes and cross our fingers that something works. And maybe it does, but we're not actually being intentional about closing the gaps that exist. And that's what supplements are great for. Supplements do not really heal on their own. Supplements help work with our food and lifestyle to bridge the gaps that exist, right? So we need to know what the gaps are in order to really target supplements to that. So everyone that sends me a DM, every client that comes in and says, okay, but what supplement should I take? We have to start with labs. We have to start with labs. Otherwise, I'm just not going to answer the question. I'm going to say, I don't fucking know. And neither does anybody else, because we need the data. We need the data to drive the decision. All right, babe, we're going to pause it there. There is a lot that I say to clients we could keep diving into, but this gives us something to chew on, a little something to sit with. as we peek behind the curtain of some of the conversations happening inside of my work with clients that don't really fit into a 30-second reel and deserve to be really parsed apart, and explored in a little bit more depth. So that's what we get to do here on the pod. If you are feeling ready for more health and healing supports, I have a couple of one-on-one spots opening up here pretty soon. And we are also enrolling our next cohort of Thrive Mama in just a couple of weeks. So there will be details in the caption for both of those avenues of support. You can check them out. Send me a message if you have any questions, but make sure you move on those because spots fill up quickly. And I'm really excited to get started with my new one-on-one folks and with our Thrive Mama cohort. If you enjoyed this conversation or found any value in this episode, I would love to invite you to leave us a review. Drop some stars, leave a comment, send the show to a friend. It really helps us get into the ears of more moms and really expand our impact and our support out here in podcast land. So I will be back next week with another episode. Sending you so much love, and until we meet again, take beautiful care of yourself.